This is the Aftermarket Radio Network.
Welcome to another episode of Speak Up Effective Communication. I'm your host, Craig O'Neill, here on the show in the Aftermarket Radio Network, focusing on our communication and leadership skills. With me today is a very special guest from my local Toastmasters Club 404, Grand Rapids Toastmasters, our newly elected president, Helen Fradette. Helen, thanks for joining me.
You're welcome. It's great to be here, Craig.
This is going to be fun. And I really appreciate you agreeing to do this. Helen's background is a little different than most of the guests that we bring in on the show. Not entirely. We bring outside industry guests all the time. Helen, your background, as I understand, began as a music teacher.
Yes.
And then you became an IT security professional.
Yes. Quite a career shift indeed.
And the
Go ahead.
Interesting thing about it is that this was a tough transition, an interesting transition, as you were saying, and it was a challenging time.
Absolutely. It's hard to put a resume together like that as well.
But, yeah. Well, this is why we want to have the conversation today, because people going through major transitions or a tough time in general, that is one of the more challenging circumstances that we face in the automotive aftermarket. We're dealing with clients who, whether we're aware of it or not, are in fact going through a lot. And car repair, especially an expensive one in those times, can be truly a major barrier in the life. So Helen, when we talked before about this, you brought in some ideas that I thought would be worthwhile to bring to this audience. And for our loyal listeners today, I think you're really going to enjoy Helen's perspective. We don't always get to have a conversation with someone about how they perceive our industry outside of a normal transaction that we're currently engaged in, which changes the way the feedback can come in. And so we're going to hear some of Helen's story here today. And we're also going to introduce a really cool word of the day, brought in the word solicitude. And we will define that word for you after we hear a word from our sponsors who make this show possible. Looking to take your shop to the next level of quality service, team culture, and overall profitability? At the Institute, we provide personalized coaching that aligns with your goals of financial stability, excellent customer service, and employee satisfaction. Our priority is helping you establish significant and sustainable progress. We work with you to create strategies that reduce the stress of running your business, improve your quality and performance, and optimize your profitability. Experience the benefits of professional coaching by visiting wearetheinstitute.com/business-assessment. Hey friends, as you know, I'm a proud member of the AutoFlow team, and let me tell you, we've changed how business is done for auto shops everywhere. We support your client experience before, during, and after the work is done. Imagine this. Timely updates sent directly to your clients, branded digital vehicle inspections, and seamless communication from start to finish. That's why shops love AutoFlow. And hey, with those 5-star reviews rolling in, you'll wonder how you ever managed without us. Take an important next step and take your auto shop to the next level. Visit www.autoflow.com. Get on board with an AutoFlow trial. Want to see your auto repair shop thrive? Are you looking to drive more customers to your auto repair shop? Let ShopDog Marketing be your guide. Our customer-first approach, combined with AI-driven creative content, ensures top rankings. Dominate mobile first and voice search with our specialized expertise. Reach out to ShopDog Marketing today and start growing your business. Don't miss out on this chance to boost your business. Visit shopdogmarketing.com. Inbound has exclusively served independent auto repair shops with expert communication solutions for years. Our robust VoIP platform ensures you stay connected while our industry-leading AI analytics take your business to the next level. We provide the tools you need to understand your customers and optimize every interaction. Choose Inbound for proven expertise and unmatched innovation. Visit callinbound.com and discover the difference we can make. Credit card surcharging sounds effective, but is the single most damaging action to your shop in the last decade. If you're surcharging, you're tarnishing your reputation and losing customers as we speak. Express is the only 0% fee option to surcharging that your customers already know how to use. No tricks, no hidden fees, just a smarter way for auto shops to keep what's yours and do right by your customers. Book a free consultation with Express today by visiting myexpress.io and see how the most successful shops in the country are flipping the script on credit card processors. And we're back. And the word of the day is solicitude. And that is a noun, folks, and it means care or concern for someone's well-being. A difficult thing for any of us on any occasion to always convey when we're in the middle of a transaction. And Helen, we're talking about auto repair today, and I think you just have some good perspective for us. So let's jump in.
Great. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with the story that you were describing. You received a gift, but that gift had a bit of a catch.
Yes. So during my transition between being a music teacher and my IT security career, I went through a time where I was a single mother with 3 young children and had recently been divorced. So I was in need of a new vehicle or a updated vehicle to get my kids basically from school every day to and from school, and myself to find a job and or maintain a job during this difficult time. And the 1996 minivan that we had was dying to the point that it was no longer worth putting any repairs into. And I was
96. And what year was this, Helen?
this was in 2011. This was in 2011.
Okay. I got to know,
Yeah.
what kind of minivan was it? Do you remember?
Oh, it was probably a Pontiac.
Okay.
Do they make minivans?
They did
I
then.
feel like it did.
Yes.
I feel like
Pontiac Transport.
That might be what it was.
Oh boy. Yep. They had some issues. Okay. That helps our audience very much. We're familiar with these things and it places us where we are in time.
I am not. So that's funny because I don't know much about cars. The only ones I know are the ones that I own right now. And it's basically what the make and models are and what color they are. And that's all that I know. So I could tell you my minivan was gray. That's about all that I remember about it. And then, yes, so I was a member of my church at that time, and I asked the deacons from the church to help me search for a car. Not only because I didn't know much about cars or how to find one, but I was exhausted from just simply my life circumstance at that time.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the deacons gladly took that on as a challenge or, as a request. He ended up finding me a 2010 Park Avenue and worked out the price of it. I think it was $5,000. It had 90,000 miles on it. And the $5,000 was a gift from someone from our church. An anonymous church donor had gifted that to me for the purpose of getting my car. So really thrilled, excited, went and, I didn't need to drive it much, just thank you. I needed a car. It fit all my kids. And I was set up nicely, ready to go. However, with a car that is, no, so I said it was a 2010. Did I say 2010?
You said 2010.
No, it was a 2001.
Yeah. That makes more sense to me. Yep.
I also have dyslexia, which would be coming up right now because you flip numbers and letters a lot in this when you have dyslexia. So it was a 2001. Is that
Buick?
a Pontiac? A Buick.
Yeah.
It was definitely a Park Avenue.
Yeah.
And it was white.
Yeah.
And it was big. And
they were.
I felt safe and big and comfy. So it wasn't long, maybe 6 months after I was gifted it, that started needing repairs.
Yeah, I'm picturing those vehicles. That was prime time of my career. Worked on a lot of those things, a lot of transmissions. It's the 4T65E. It's 4-speed automatic, in case you didn't know that.
I did not.
Yeah,
And
yeah, they had issues.
I'll say it back to you, but it'll be backwards from what you just said.
It's okay. No, it's a bunch of soup and knowledge in our minds of what goes into those vehicles. And so our listeners who are familiar with them as well, they're thinking like, oh, cool. All right, charity vehicle. And then a 90,000 mile, 2001 Buick Park Avenue. Anyone who's been in this industry for a while, immediately what's running through our head is all the normal things that we can expect to fail on those vehicles around that time. We're already seeing this barrier coming up down the road. And it sounds like this is exactly where we're heading.
There's not only things that just fail, I'm assuming, because they fail faulty, but you also just need that regular maintenance and repair of whatever happens at the 100,000 miles, and then the next 100, whatever 1,000 miles it is, or
there's the expected maintenance, and then there's what we understand in our industry as pattern failures, of which we would always like caution and look out for, right?
Yes. That's coming with that type of vehicle. Yes. So that set me into hey, I didn't have money to make a car payment, and which means I also don't have money to make payments for unexpected maintenance. Even my regular maintenance, even just oil change. I remember once just trying to find a place that would change my oil for, $30 to $40 of, hey, I just need my oil changed, and having to pay like $70 just for the whole thing, and the air filter and all this stuff, and just very stressful. So
it's something that we often forget. To us in the industry, it always feels very routine. It feels so routine, and it feels normal, and someone's got a car, they have to take care of it, otherwise it gets more expensive. So why wouldn't you like budget for this, right? And that shouldn't be a challenge. And we have to really stop and remember sometimes that even that the simple things in our minds are not always simple.
Yes, because having a car is one of those things that it's not as easy to explain of, well, if you're going to have a car, you need to be able to, pay for these maintenance, regular things that come with it. Otherwise, maybe you shouldn't own a car. Well, if I were to not own a car at that time in my life, it would have probably meant that my children may have had to not be able to live with me. Because I would not have been able to get them to medical appointments, to school every day. That was at the fear of my mind.
A real life-shattering fear.
Like, well, if you can't afford a car, that means you can't take care of your kids. Therefore, you can't afford your kids either. So therefore, it's just really, really stressful. A lot. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So this car did hit a problem though, not just even maintenance, but needed actual repairs as well?
Absolutely. Several times.
Oh dear.
Many times. So anytime that I would need to repair, something was going on with it, I would have to find a place that was strategically located. It didn't really matter about relationships of people that I had. It was the closest one that was to my house where I was living at that time that I could walk. I could drive it and have it, be worked on. I could walk home or walk the kids back with me, or that it was next to a place that had maybe a mall that I could take the kids to the mall and we could spend a couple hours there while it was being repaired. Lots of logistics, figuring those things out. And there was always in that conversation of, here's the first analysis of what needs to get done. And I would say, well, what's the bare minimum that I need to get to keep it going? Right. It's an older car. I just need it to keep moving. And usually I would get what I thought was good advice and be able to figure out a middle place that we could land. I would say there wasn't a lot of like price negotiating that I was aware of. It was more of service cutting out. Well, you need these 4 things. Right. You can only afford this amount. Therefore, we recommend these 2 things that we do. So that was the type of.
Yeah. Now, let me ask this, Helen. You're describing what I think is a very common scenario that often goes unknown inside of the shop, because knowing the industry and especially the people in my network and many of our loyal listeners here, they'd be hearing this story and it's like, oh my God, I would have loved to be able to help that scenario if I had only known that someone was really teetering on like, oh, like this is barely affordable because of circumstances. Did you ever bring it up? Or did you feel like it was even something that could be brought up into the equation?
No, I didn't. I never brought up that I was in need because to the service people that were servicing my car. I did not know that there was a sliding scale. I still don't know. Are you telling me there's a sliding scale for things like this?
Yeah,
That
there's a lot of shops that are very involved in charities that do help with maintenance and the upkeep or even repairs of a broke down scenario like that, where cars no longer serving its function to serve, especially the single mother scenario. Like this is one of the heartbreak stories. Like working as a service advisor, I probably shared with you in some context, like I would see these stories, people are crying in front of me. They're breaking down. Like this was the last thing that they could handle. And all of a sudden I'm in a roll way over my head for how I can engage someone who clearly needs help, is not asking for any charity whatsoever, wants to pay the fair price of what something is. And for whatever reason, the question never came up like, can you help me with that? Occasionally it'd be something like, yeah, let's see what we can do. And we would absolutely do it. There'd be discounts that we can apply to that sort of thing. And yet there is on the shop side too. It's like, oh, someone's come in with a sad story and they might want to take advantage of us with a sad story and that sort of thing. There's fear on that side too, on occasion, but our default is typically going to be, yeah, we're going to try our best, our utmost to try to help the scenario. But there's dignity to preserve in this. And I feel like that's like, you wouldn't dare bring this up probably for one reason of dignity, but is there also anything behind that?
I know that personally, in my own circumstance and my personality, I don't want help if I don't need it, right? So I want to be able to say, I can do it myself. I am proving that I can do this and such. And, sometimes that's rooted in childhood growth and where you're at in your family order or other things as you've grown up. For me, it was in the middle of my relationship separation and planting myself strongly, saying that I can take care of my family, etc. Although we talk about dignity, there's a difference between understanding someone's circumstance and meeting them in a comfortable place that I feel, yes, I can contribute this, and you're contributing the other part of it. We're meeting somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, it's a hard
And then
topic.
Yes, it's hard to find that place. It's hard to breach it.
It is. I had a fear component on my side that would prevent me from being able to even probe the question of, do you need help? One of the worst mistakes I remember making as a very young service advisor, I had a program in front of me, a computer screen, and I talk about some elements where we sometimes get too fixated on just moving from data field to data field to data field and not being there just to have a conversation or open up dialogue in more natural ways. These are painful lessons because I remember I had a female client in front of me. She had a young child, probably around, 6 to 8 or so. And I was just moving across the fields, last name, first name, spouse, this and that. And as I asked spouse, I said, why do you need to know that? I was like, oh, I'm sorry. It's just a field on my screen. And that was the end of the conversation. She left uncomfortable. And I got a phone call from one of the shops that we know very well and say, hey, yeah, we have a client over here that they were asking, and we're referring them back to you because it sounds like a transmission problem and da. But yeah, they were concerned about this spouse crash. It's like, dude, I know, I realized like I made a mistake in how this is. I was literally just going through the screens. It seems like they're very uncomfortable with that question. Why? Or they're worried like, okay, since she doesn't have a husband, she feels like she might get taken advantage of. It's like, oh my gosh, no, well, we talked you up and it was fine. It got smoothed over. She came back. We were able to recover from this, but that made me more nervous for a while on how I engage potentially difficult situations like that, where it would put me in a position like, crap, there's no trust here. Like the industry has no trust. And so the act of, even though it was careless data entry on my point, even from a position of caring, what if it sounded predatory is always in the back of my mind now. What if it sounded predatory? And I hated having to overcome that element, because I know there's bad players out there too. I just wasn't one of them. So how would that conversation take place in a way that would make you feel not like you're about to be preyed upon by some untrustworthy or unscrupulous repair facility? What might have helped would be the thing.
That's an excellent question. You're not only touching the angle from your side of seeing it as a possible predatory or somebody to take advantage of them.
Yeah, we have to acknowledge there's bad actors in any industry.
But what you may not be catching also is just for me to have to say that there is no spouse brings up emotions and circumstances that I'm just trying to get my car fixed. And now here is another thing. Just it's a system in our lives that there's a field. You're just asking me because it's there. And now it's triggering. Oh yeah, I'm by myself. I don't have anybody to consult to figure, hey, is this decision, are we making this decision together? It's just me, right? So you have that working against you too.
Yeah.
What I can say is, as you went through and presented that to me, I think it would be wonderful if instead of having, it's not just you guys, it's anywhere that you are filling out a form for information, having a conversation about who you are, why you're here, what you do, how many people use this card, what's the purpose behind these fields. You need that field's on the form for a reason. Is it because hopefully in the future someone else might be coming in maybe to pick up this vehicle and you'd like to know who that is? That's the question that you should ask. Hey, is there somebody else? Is there somebody else that also drives this vehicle that might be picking it up for you? Nope, it's just me. Perfect. That's an easy, safe question. But what's your name? Is there a spouse? No. It's just a totally different angle that you come at it.
Yeah, that's a much better angle today too. And that field for me was just like, I don't even use it anymore. I couldn't stand it. Yeah. Is there any other decision makers on this vehicle? Even I felt a little bit of a riskier ask still too, because of that scenario. It felt like dangerous ground. Unless they brought it up in a conversation naturally.
But using those that's like getting to know you of, hey, oh no, it's just, I just need this car for just myself and my 3 kids. We just drive it from school to back. That's pretty much all we need it for. Wow, now you just found out the reason I have the car, how important it is to me. Jewels right there of, you know what?
The power of an open-ended question versus data entry.
Yeah. So, I mean, an exercise could even looking at your forms that you're filling out and going, why are we asking these? Can we turn this into a kind of a template, then salesy, pitchy kind of way, you go through and frame the conversation in a way that you can still get the information, be able to fill it out while you're talking and having a conversation. And then maybe just at the end say, okay, well, great. This is what I've captured from our conversation. I've got you here and here, and this is about the number of people. This is about how far you drive it. Whatever it is you guys need to know, but you've got it through a conversation.
Yeah, so that's interesting. There's a lot of powerful takeaways in that, just from a client perspective, that's so valuable here. Now, this particular story, though, continues. Now, in your case with that vehicle, you still had some repairs that you had to address. There were circumstances, that I understand it, where you ended up not having some repairs and then having to do something else with it. How did that work out for you?
This might be the more recent conversation that I asked about. Was that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a different car.
That's the different car. Got it.
Yeah, this is a different car.
That's okay. So you can stay on the other one if you want.
well, I just think about it. To be able to turn in that car and buy my first car, like actually with my, like be in my new job, have credit, have something saved up to put a down payment, be able to pay on a newer car, that was amazing because so I did buy a 2010 Prius was my first car that I bought again off my
Nice.
own,
Good
that from
choice.
the gift. And I remember before I bought it thinking I don't have to worry about it breaking down on the highway. And because I was driving this Park Avenue eventually to Lansing every day for work, from Grand Rapids to Lansing, an
It's a 1
hour
hour
drive
drive. Yeah.
one way and then another hour back. And I was constantly afraid it was going to break down on me. And
Golly.
I was so worried about it all the time. And not only just my driving with work, but also with when I drove the kids around. I remember thinking it would have been really, really nice with this gift that was given. And again, I'm so thankful for the
Oh, yeah.
generosity. But with some gifts that you're given, they are still kind of a burden that I have to carry,
Yeah.
right?
Vehicles like
So
that. Mm-hmm.
to have someone else come along and say, we realize this is an older vehicle, you need assistance for repair, hey, and you're in a really tough time in your life. Helen, if there's any time that it's making a noise,
Yeah.
call me. Just call me. I know stuff about cars, or hey, maybe you don't know stuff about cars, but you'll take it to your guy that you know about cars. And
Yes.
that would have been amazing if I had someone say to me, it's an older car, and or you're in a tough time. If it makes a noise, call me. I'll drive it. I'll take it to the repair shop. I'll bring it back to you. And hey, whatever, and even pay for it, negotiate whatever, or that thing that would have been wonderful
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. It'd be powerful.
Also,
I
yeah.
was involved in church charity at one point as well, where we were frustrated because there were some well-intentioned people trying to help folks in situations like yours with a vehicle, and they would go and they'd find a vehicle. All right, here it is. And some of those people helping out of the sincere goodness of their heart had zero qualification to assess those
Mhm.
vehicles. And it was aggravating me. Like there was one specific case that just burned in my brain. It was an early 2000s Dodge Grand Caravan minivan that was being given to a lady who had needed the help in similar ways of what you were describing. And it experienced a major transmission failure right away for this lady. And man, I would have been able to tell from one dipstick check on that transmission fluid. It literally had torque converter clutch material on the stick. It was a common issue back then. And it would have been like, no, this thing is going to fail imminently type of a thing. Just a skilled assessment could have prevented further frustration. And now the person was faced with a similar scenario, couldn't afford transmission. And fortunately, the church was able to kick in and assist on that particular case. But the lesson for the church was also like, oh, this charity program that they have for providing vehicles cannot stop at the vehicle provision.
Right.
It
Right.
needs professional assessment. And good news, there's professionals who also would happily assess the situation for free.
Mm-hmm.
And these pre-purchase inspections are available, and most shops would be happy to do them. They would be happy to. And those charities need to be aware of that and find a partner in their local area. Very valuable. Yeah, you're spot on there. You were going on, though. There's another element that would have helped. I feel like you were going to add to that, hey, some assistance to help maintain.
Oh, yes. It was a reminder of also so I wouldn't have to remember to change my oil.
Oh, yeah.
And just like the regular stuff
Sure.
that if somebody could also not only, hey, if it makes a noise or a smell or whatever, call me, but also every 3 months or 4 months, I'll touch base with you, make a time for you, and I'll go
Yes.
take it to get it. So just having that off your mind would have been
we
because
call
there's
that
just so
manage it
many
for me.
things.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things that are on
Yep.
my mind as a single mother taking care of 3 young children,
Ah,
and that having to remember everything and these are crucial things that your livelihood is dependent upon. If I knew that I could trust
Yeah.
someone, just that
Safety.
they're taking
Mhm.
that for me, oof, what that would have been.
It's brilliant. Yeah. So you're speaking one of the things you've heard me talk a little bit about some of what I do on my day to day, and our Toastmasters Club is my practice ground for a lot of the topics, and safety, reliability, efficiency. Like, our professional responsibility is to make sure your vehicle is safe, reliable, and efficient. We won't let you down. And that's why we inspect every car that comes in, and we're going to provide that inspection result for you here. And then we're going to help make sure that this thing stays on the road and we can keep things going great for you. Right.
Yeah.
And that conversation is how we teach advisors to do their job in our field. You're spot on. That's what you described. We call it a manage it for me approach to business versus this industry is sometimes referred to as DIFM, do it for me, as an car break, you fix. Please do it for me because I cannot fix. The whole goal is to make sure car does not break in the first place.
Right.
That's the goal.
Right.
So we've hit on a lot of things. The trust factor is one of them. We talked about the vulnerability that we can feel, especially in that moment of disadvantage. But what I want to go back to real quick is when you do walk into the shop, you're not really putting your real circumstances out there. I feel like we've made some assumptions when people are walking in. You mentioned this already. You don't know a lot about the cars, and being treated sometimes like you do. Did you feel like you were being treated like you do know, or do you feel like more often you were being treated like you didn't know?
I will say that what has been impressed on me as a middle-class white female growing up in the Midwest, Southwest, is that women are generally treated as that we don't know about cars. So when we go to shops, they will likely take advantage of us because we don't know about cars. Now, before the internet came, then access to that type of knowledge was only in my high school automotive shops, classes that I never went to. And then I felt like, my opportunity was gone. So I would say when I go in, I am presenting that I want to know about what's going on. I will ask questions. So it's interesting
You
now
will
that
ask questions.
you're making me think about it. Well, I will ask questions. They'll say, so it's making a noise. I'm not going to say it's the carburetor or the piston, something, spark, whatever.
Oh yeah. No,
I'm going to say it makes a noise like chugga, chugga, chugga when I do this, right?
You're the best. Yes, this is good. This helps us actually.
And then you're going to come back and say, we found this a bunch of car words that I don't know what connects to what, how it works, what fires it. I don't know if you're telling me that you need to replace this piece, but is it a part of a larger system, or is it just a little bit? And that I just don't know. So I might ask some questions. I'm like, so this has to be, and so you need to do that so that I can get a good picture. So, I do ask questions.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, Helen, the thing I've noticed in my career as an advisor is our female clients ask better questions. You know who comes in pretending to know more than they really do with the real mask on? Our guy customers.
Yeah.
Like, not knowing about an automobile is almost emasculating is the impression that you would have. And so they cover it up. Same reason though, that same fear is there, that if you betray lack of knowledge too much, like, the shop will take advantage of it. I talked about this in one of my earliest episodes on the show. It's the universal fear that is cited by every consumer group study in our industry, is that the vast majority of them feel like we're going to upsell them things that they do not need. And that fear comes with they have to act like they know. And so we have to go along with that and treat people as equal footing and educate customers in a way that doesn't rob them of the assumption of knowledge. And digital inspection platform that is core to AutoFlow company that I work for is a major help factor in that, providing images and videos of the thing that we're discussing. Pretty helpful to help them actually see the thing that isn't just the words of this complex system. Definitely.
Yeah, and that makes me think of another net comparison that I've thought of is that if I could think of my mechanic as my doctor, my physician, family practice person that I go see every year, and that you would say, I'm saying, hey, like my knee hurts when I do this way. And then you'd say, well, you're just getting old now, Helen. That's what happens. But we have these things that you can put in place if it's of value to you, if it's going to get you where you need to go based off of your goals, how often you use your car, how often or what, how long do you want to keep this car? How long, I mean, this is if I go back to my person, my knee, like I want to keep my knee, but are you going to be a marathon runner, or are you just going to, walk around the block every evening and enjoy the Michigan evenings, summer evenings?
Yeah.
So depending on what my intended use for it, then you'd advise my mechanic way of, how to proceed with addressing this issue that's coming at me.
Yeah. I always make an analogy when I'm speaking on this for the audience of the auto repair industry, our listeners, target audience in the aftermarket here, understand this. I liken it not to a medical visit, because you are the patient in a medical visit. So I liken our industry a little bit more to a veterinary clinic. So Helen, you have cats, for example.
Oh, okay.
Right. And I start trying to help advisors think of their vehicle as they might think of a pet. And this is a little bit easier to communicate on. And when you're managing as the patient and you start managing a vehicle as a patient, it makes for an easier analogy, I think. And then we're still dealing with same terms: an older car, older pet, like quality of life analysis here. How can we manage treatment in a way that's going to work for your lifestyle and the animal's actual experience, right?
Yeah. But I think my intention was to get to the parts of, like, I'm not a doctor. I don't have the PhD in my anatomy and how it all connects to each other. So explaining, hey, well, this pinched nerve here in your shoulder actually runs all the way down your leg, where here's your car word that attaches to the other car word to make this function. Just those simple,
too complicated.
I mean, I don't know the words, but you have you have to bridge that as whatever profession you're in. I have to do that in IT, like, well, what do you do for your IT? I can't just say exactly.
You're going way over people's heads if you want to in that field. Yeah.
You have to find that middle ground to translate what it is that the audience your client needs to understand in order to help them make a good decision to you on taking your advice or not.
Yeah. One of my coaches and mentors, Dennis McCarron, he always says, like, he had the story of like an oxygen sensor going bad on the vehicle and the client asking, what does that do? So, well, sir, right now it's turning on your check engine light.
Yes.
And it's kind of a comical approach to this thing. Like, we could go and explain how it's measuring the air inside of the exhaust to understand the how well the engine's running with its efficiency and all the other things. But no, at the end of the day, this is how it's affecting you at the moment. And the long-term ramifications are a lack of efficiency and potential other issues, and on it goes. But no, we don't need to go to the depth that we always need to do. It doesn't always impress people. It overwhelms them. And you have a lot of other things that are already overwhelming. This does not need to be one of them. So Helen, how can we help you make a plan here that's going to serve your immediate needs? Boom.
Right.
And then a bit more of a different conversation than just this, that X dollars. Yeah. And that's what we're going to do today.
Right.
Okay. So I mentioned this O2 sensor, and you had a story, Helen, about an O2 sensor. You bought your daughter another vehicle, an older car.
I did. And this was her high school senior, or the summer before her senior year. She needed a car just to get to school and back. And so I bought her a 2000. So I'm that good with my numbers here. This is 2023 so it'll be last summer, which would be last summer's 2024. It was a 2009 Hyundai Elantra that I bought just through Facebook Marketplace or something for $2,000. And I think it had 120,000 miles on it. Pretty good for that old of a vehicle. But of course, it wasn't long before things were making noises or smells and such. So a couple times in and out of the shop, just with the bare minimum to keep it going. And then finally, we took it in because it had the check engine light on. And of course, tons of things come back through. It was like, $2,500 worth of repair comes back of needing to be fixed. But he said, I think, your culprit really is this O2 sensor, which is maybe down in the muffler area, something like that. Or I don't know if it's there, but that's what it's detecting, the oxygen coming through on the in and out. And this is the thing though, Craig, is they understood that we are only just needing to get this car by, we're not going to throw a lot of money into it. We're just using it until it's done, until it runs out. We're going to let it go. But they still, the best that they could recommend was a $1,200 repair in order to get this O2 sensor issue corrected.
No symptoms, pretty much the lights on. Did you have any other issues that you felt?
What they told me was that my danger would be possibly it wouldn't start, but it was still starting. Like sometimes you might need a jump or something with that. And the muffler would get kind of loud eventually, but no other symptoms. Just basically the light was on. That was basically it.
Yeah. My automotive thing wants to say, what code was it? And was it this? And I'm already thinking, was it the catalytic converter that they were having to replace? Because, oh my gosh. Okay. But no, this story goes on.
And this was just last year. So I'm much more in my state of mind. I don't have to worry about where's my food coming in, how am I getting my kids to school and everything. So
better spot.
There's a lot better spot, so it's like, that's interesting. That's still more that I really want to put into this car right now. So I'm starting to weigh my options of, getting a different vehicle for her and how to go about that. In the meantime, I checked one of my colleagues who I know works on cars on the side, handy guy on the side. He does a quick Google search for the part that I said was they were going to replace. He's like, this is wherever he can find it, $100 less than what they're quoting you at the store. And likely this is really more of a muffler issue where you could probably take this to a muffler shop and they could, I'm going to Helenese this and say, Jimmy rig duct tape muffler it to get it to do whatever you need to do to get that code or whatever to at least to have the safety and security for driving the car continually.
Yeah, and for the people that don't recognize, Helen and I are both in Michigan, and it gets rusty, and exhaust systems are constantly falling apart in horrible ways, and there is nothing that can ever be said negative about that muffler shop that can make a quick patch.
There we go. Yes.
For some things, they are valuable to all of us. So, yeah. So, all right, continue.
So he said, if it was him, that's the way he would go. And just probably the shop doesn't have a muffler specialty guy in their shop. So the best that they could really do is take out the entire
section of pipe,
blah, blah, blah thing. And to get to that one space that really needed to be adjusted, where the muffler specialty guy could do that.
Sure.
So, at the end, I decided to just trade the car in for
you didn't even deal with it on this one?
No, I didn't. I was like, I didn't do anything to it of even the 2000 something at all, and said, you know what, it hasn't stalled. There's a jumper cable in if we need to start. It might get a little loud eventually, but it wasn't until she said that something was smelling that I said, okay, now it's time to go trade it in. So that was about 3 months later. So I really didn't do anything with it.
Yeah. So the shop that probably accurately assessed that a component of maybe a larger area than you needed to do. Yeah. That's exactly what happens in those cases. Catalytic converters are expensive, and a $1,200 repair on an exhaust is not surprising because the part itself is often $800. And yeah, even though you might find a price similar to what the shop has to pay, shops have profit margins, all the things. I know our listeners are going through all the things like, of course, the part's cheaper when you look at it online, all these things. And like, they don't know the cost of operating business to be there for the next person's like, no, client doesn't know how our business operates. It's a perfectly fair assessment. They don't care that like that's a component of, yeah, the markup has to be XYZ in order for us to make our margins, in order to pay our staff and be here again next week.
But I will say, if that shop would have said, I mean, it's still $1,200 is significant for this vehicle.
It's such a bummer too. Yeah.
Like, like, I know it's hard. You say, I know that we are just wanting to limp this car along. Here's the $1,200 best recommendation that we can give you. In my mind, I don't want to go back to them anymore. Correct. Because what I would have preferred them to say, or what would have built that trust was, you know what, we've got a muffler guy down the road here. I've got a relationship. I'm going to call him and I'm going to send you over there. I think that he can get that for half the price, and you'll be better off to get that limping or that patch in place. And then that would, I don't know how it works in your industry.
We'll never know on this story, because I wonder what the diagnosis was. Was it a bad cat? If it was a bad cat, yeah, there's cheap cats that you can get catalytic converters.
It wasn't a catalytic. It wasn't a catalytic converter. I would have remembered that. I would have remembered that it was that. I would have remembered that.
Yeah, so it's a lot of pipe they're recommending. Doggone. I really want to know, because it's just so frustrating. But yeah, that's the thing, is sometimes outside of your specialty, the best thing that you can recommend is some of those. We had a guy down the corner from us, a Tuffy muffler shop that's no longer there now, probably because they didn't charge enough, as my thinking. But they bailed me out a number of times when just a simple crack on a rusty old pipe, and they got it by with some welding magic. And sometimes the guy never even charged us for it, because we shared customers on occasions and referrals and things like it's just bonkers what a good muffler shop in a rusty state can do. And there was a missed opportunity perhaps to look for a middle road option or explain why this is what it is. And shoot, would have been good to know, like, if a muffler shop tried a patch and you still had the same problem that justified the shop's original diagnostics. We just don't know in this case. But explaining options. I mean, this is the reality we face. Customers come into this, they hear our recommendations, and there's always another place that'll have another thing. And there's always the guy that knows a little bit about some stuff that can make some recommendations. And yet there's some facts in the middle of all of this. And the solution just not always obvious. And it's not the priority for you. Your priorities, get out of this as simple as you can for your exact needs. And perhaps a missed opportunity, but maybe the best advice is, if you aren't willing to do that, then you are better off getting rid of the car, as you did. And that might have been the advice they had to give. Right. Yep. I want to know the end of that car story, though, man. Incomplete. Too bad.
Well, I am notorious for not throwing anything away. So if I walked away with a paper, then I might find it one day and I'll let you know. Because it'll be laying around my house somewhere.
No, good insight though, Helen. And we appreciate your perspective. I appreciate your perspective, and I know our listeners will too. As hard as it is to hear sometimes about the reality of the perspective of the industry, I appreciate you coming on to share this stuff. And I hope that our listeners can draw some value from it and just think about the way we're approaching the conversations, not from our perspective, not from taking offense to like, oh, it's not fair that the industry doesn't have trust.
Right.
It's just what it is. And that's where we have to meet everyone at. So Helen, thanks for meeting me here. And I'm just excited for what our Toastmasters Club is going to have for your leadership of the club this year. You've already brought so many great insights and stories. I shared the storytelling formula in a few episodes ago. We talked about that. So,
yes, I heard that.
Yeah, it's good stuff. No, I hope you can come back again. We'll have plenty more to discuss. I'm definitely going to want to interrogate you further about how your role as president is challenging you and things you're really happy about how they turn out. So we're only about a month and a half, I think, now into your term, but good things ahead.
Sure. Looking forward to that.
No, it's good stuff. I use the Toastmasters Club to help people understand what it is to be an ambassador in our industry, to talk with folks like you who don't know the good side and the good hearts in the industry. And I hope there's some folks too. I hope you heard, make your charitable intentions more well known out there through proper channels. If you're worried about being taken advantage of, maybe your charity isn't what you're doing, but charities out there, there are things. And I think, Helen, from what I heard from you, if that had been put out there and churches or other groups that are more able to identify charitable needs, if that had been out there, it would have been much easier for you to tap into, right?
Yes. Yeah. I didn't know there were.
Yeah.
It's letting it make sure it's known. Otherwise,
Yeah.
how can you take advantage of it? Yeah.
Yeah. Because just counting on people to tell you the need is not what's going to be the reality.
Right.
No, I think it's fair.
One more thing that I wanted to share as just
Sure.
as an idea
Yep.
for a way that you can kind of solicit information from your clients as they're new coming in to see where they're at, that possibly, you're not just going to say, hey, are you somebody in need that we have a donor
Right.
that
You
can,
can't just go out
offer
and
this,
say
or
this.
what gave me this idea was when I got my tires. I got a new tire recently, and the tire shop looked at my tires, and then they brought me in, and they had this picture of like, here's what the normal tread looks like in the amount that's here in, like a measurement, and then here's the in between one, and then here's the dangerous one. You're like right around here, just kind of showed me that, and I'm like, well, that's perfect. Like, that's a visual. I can see where I'm at. You looked at, that's where it's at. It made me think of putting something together for assessing new clients on where they're at in their whatever journey of car owning that we are. Like,
of vehicle health scale. It actually exists. Yep.
For your personal journey. Are you somebody that is, I'm sure it's like, I don't want to mess with my car. I just want to bring it in and you guys fix it. You don't need to tell me, just make sure it works. And you don't care how much it costs. We're just going to take it from you and you trust us to do everything. Are you this person?
Yeah, we call them key throwers. Here, just take care.
Okay. Yes. Or are you, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a scale of a non-key thrower to a key thrower scale, like continuum, but
what type of customer you're describing? Actually, the topic that my friends Brian and Kim Walker will be talking about in the upcoming conference, they call it customer avatars to a degree, where it helps the shop understand what kind of client you are, or specifically, like you said, with this vehicle, even there's probably a difference on there too. And it can inform how the interactions need to go in order to serve you best and follow up with you best, and how you like to be followed up with and when for that vehicle, all sorts of variables like that. And there's some data intake that occurs. And I always try to teach it through conversation and asking intelligent questions to kind of put the puzzle pieces together through our relationship that is developing, and that the pieces always start to fill in. And it's out of care and the best interest for the individual that conversation needs to be conducted with solicitude.
I agree with everything you're saying. And it also made me think of like, like the Harry Potter houses are kind of cool. Like, you're like, are you this one or this one or this one? You can like put them in houses. And then
sorting
you describe, like you describe, are you a this type of customer? Are you a this type of customer? Are you this type of customer? But allowing me to tell you that I am someone that is in need without explicitly saying I'm a person in need. In some way of, are you like,
what does that look like?
If we went along those, what did you call them? Client profiles or avatars, things. Yeah. Well, here's an is there an avatar that you're at this stage in your life with this type of circumstances that you're balancing? Then, you maybe, or you're not asking that, you're describing, hey, a rabbit avatar is at this, here's what the rabbit is, and they eat carrots. We have rabbits that eat carrots, and we have rabbits that eat, I don't know, beets.
I'm going to have to probe Brian and Kim on how they approach this too, but you're describing like almost like a personality test, it feels like. Right? Like,
yes. But it's not personality. It's like just where you're at and your situation.
Some intelligent questionnaire of some sort.
Something that will come out like,
you go to the doctor with your pets or yourself, and you always have some major checklist to do. Like, we don't put anything in front of people like this really well anyways.
Yeah. But it doesn't explicitly say, like, are you living paycheck to paycheck? Like, that's not the question.
Yeah, financial circumstances are a tough topic to probe.
Yeah. How do you ask those questions without explicitly saying, because a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, but they don't admit it. They don't realize it. They're living beyond their means anyway.
Continuing education, I'm asked right now, and I'm trying to round out some of my college stuff too. And like just even looking at the admissions process, first thing they want you to do, fill out the financial aid form. No questions. You must fill it out. You have to fill this out. and it's a whole thing. And I don't know how that would look maybe for the situation on finances. Like I do know some shops will offer a line of credit type of a thing, but that's a credit thing. And most of the people who need it can't get it.
No, yeah.
It's tough. We're going to be happy to get some outside counsel on some ideas as we get those together, Helen. I think that's you're on a thread there. I think that's worth exploring a little bit and knowing from some focus group study from non-automotive people and what they would actually feel comfortable with. I think that's where some insight would be really beneficial.
Yeah.
That's cool topic stuff, Helen. Thanks for bringing that in. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for listening today, folks. If you have any questions on this topic or you want to visit us in Grand Rapids Toastmasters Club 404, we're there every Tuesday night, 6:30 till 8 o'clock. If you're in town, let me know on a Tuesday night. Otherwise, reach up to me at speakup@craigoneil.net. And we do appreciate hearing from you on topics or suggestions or anything that you want to hear about on your communication journey. I think this will be a great episode for service advisors out there. So owners, give them this one. I think it's a wonderful perspective. Thanks for sharing again, Helen. And hey, remember, folks, listen up to the other shows on the Aftermarket Radio Network. We have Remarkable Results Radio with Carm Capriato, Diagnosing the Aftermarket A through Z with Matt Fonslow, an upcoming guest. I can't wait for some of you to get to hear him if you haven't already listened to his show. Business by the Numbers with Hunt Demarest, the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast with Brian and Kim Walker, and the Weekly Blitz with Coach Chris Cotton. Looking forward to being out there speaking. Kim and Brian Walker will be with me at the Institute's Mars Intensive in Ogden, Utah. Sorry, Helen, I might miss the Tuesday night, the first week of September.
That's a big week. Yeah. That's Labor Day weekend too. I'm thinking,
that's right. Yeah,
that's going to be a tough one.
Talk about maybe postponing that meeting. We'll see how people are. Shoot.
Right.
It'll happen.
You've been listening to Speak Up, Effective Communication with Craig O'Neill on the Aftermarket Radio Network. Follow Craig on your favorite podcast listening app and on his YouTube channel. Let him know what you'd like him to speak up about. Craig is all for advancing the automotive service aftermarket.